Hi guys, this is Angus. Welcome to this video. It's just a quick breakdown of the effects that I built in Blender for a music video called Jesso Elysium. And I thought it'd be really interesting if I just broke down the processes and the kind of things that I did. This is just an image from the video. I'll flick through some images. So I just had a green screen shot, a single green screen shot of Jess, who's the artist. And this was taken when we were doing rehearsals. We got commissioned to do a video that had a budget, but this was just a rehearsal day and we recorded some of the other songs. At that time I wasn't able to get hold of Jess because she was in another country. At the time I had to film it, so we ended up having to use this one take, which was one series of shots of her just just handheld kind of stuff that I'd done on the rehearsal. And I had to find a way to kind of put it into an environment or make something interesting out of it. So I designed a spacesuit. I just had this face and I didn't know how to deal with it. So what I did was I built a suit in the ZBrush, and my working process in ZBrush was just basically, just to sort of get it looking sort of more or less towards her proportions, because she's quite an athletic girl, and so the idea was that the suit would just be the replacement for her body. So I had to rig the suit in Blender and everything. So these were just some flick throughs of the suit, just roughly before textures and stuff. And then I did a whole series of kind of look development of what I could get the suit to look like when I started putting textures on it and rendering it. So these were different kind of looks. So this is all just created in Blender, and I had the idea I had for the design was that the suit would have this webbing that was kind of like a illuminated webbing that sort of would go around all these joints. So basically all of the joints would be illuminated. I flick through these. Yeah, so I was trying out different tests. You can see here that that's the illumination stuff. In the end I sort of went for something that was a bit more like this. Before we were going to build a suit, I actually thought, well, what I'll do is I'll build a version of her. So I sort of built this rough model of Jess, and then I thought, okay, well, I'll just put I'll do some animation tests and stuff. So my original idea was to just have photographs of her skin and take them on. So I did some tests, which we were just showing just to show how effective it could be if you put her actual textures onto a 3D model. This is a completely 3D model. Obviously, we didn't go down this route. So that's quite interesting. And then in this version here, I just built a sort of model, and then I was trying sort of animations and stuff in Blender. But this route got discounted very early on because it would have been just too hard to animate her face singing and to animate her hair and all the movement and stuff like that. So we went back to the suit. So once I built the suit, I had to rig it in Blender. This is just some of the skeletal structure. Blender's pretty easy to work with. That's the rig that you're seeing here. I did some test animations of that rig, just things like her running and stuff. So the suit running. So you could see, it's starting to come. From what was just something built in ZBrush, it starts to come to life a bit. Oh yeah, so these are some of the images. So this is the environment that I finally built in Blender. I originally was going to try and get a much more photorealistic render, but the song was 8,000 frames long and I only had 2 workstations to render it on, so really the rendering had to be brought down to like a minute and a half per frame, which Cycles handled really well, but it meant I had to sacrifice some of the more metallic-y kind of, and some of the glass stuff, although I think it ended up looking pretty good on the moving footage, just flicking through some images from the music video. And yeah, I just thought these were interesting, so you could see the development. And yeah, I guess I did some compositing in Blender, but I also took it out to After Effects and added light glows and stuff in After Effects, and I did do some light effects in Blender. This was an example of something I was trying in Blender. So there were some interesting things, but I just found the compositor was a little bit too light, not light, but just didn't have enough glowy, effecty kind of stuff that you get in After Effects. So I used After Effects for that. So one of the big problems I had was because I just had this handheld shot of her face. In the beginning I just couldn't get her face looking right in the helmet. This is obviously completely wrong, but I'll show it to you. So I had this kind of problem of like trying to figure out the scale of her face and getting it all to sit and look well. Whereas by comparison, what I finally came up with. Yeah, so getting her face to look right in the suit was just the hardest thing, and eventually worked it out. It was just it was just getting there was a plane inside of her face, and I had to curve it, and then I had to get it so that there was reflection from the glass back onto, and I had to actually grade her skin to look like it was under the glass, and it finally still worked. It just took a while, but when I finally got it, it actually looked really good, and it looked quite believable. You can see from here that these shots actually, once you stop putting the glows and everything on them, you if you're not looking to that and you're if you're hearing the music as well. What I actually found was I was making her face way too small inside the suit, and then when I made it bigger, it kind of fitted. I'm going to be doing a more in-depth training series about Blender. I just thought this was useful to show that it sort of shows that I've done some work in Blender. But I'll put the link, and you should actually just have a look at it with the music on her YouTube channel. And I hope this was interesting. It's just a bit about the process. So the artist's name is Jesso. She's basically got a Facebook page, which is facebook.com Jesso. I'll put the links in, and you can just go. It's just simple with Jesso, Jesso, and you can go and have a look at it. And she's really great. She's got some great photos, and she's really, really sweet. So she's nice. She's a nice artist for people to support. And she's got a quite detailed Facebook page with actually quite a lot of followers. Like, she's got 211,000 followers, and then her website, she's got lots of photo galleries, and she's got a Bandcamp page and all the other stuff. So I'll put some links in for you to have a look. The next project I'm doing with her is a music video, which is, again, I just had one green screen shot, and this is for a song called Coda, and that's going to be a project where I build the video from scratch with a daily blog, and that's going to be starting soon on Blender 19 Steemit, and also probably on Jess's website. So if you want to sign up or follow this channel, you'll be seeing notifications of that, and that'll be really interesting, because it's basically primarily it's going to be Blender, because I work primarily in Blender, but I do a lot of work in ZBrush, so it's going to be a lot of actually showing all the pathways I take between building an object in ZBrush and bringing it into Blender, and then all the different rendering capabilities of Blender, and it's going to basically incorporate a lot of After Effects and actual Fusion, Blackmagic Fusion work as well. So if you're interested in compositing knowledge incorporated with Blender and render parsers, and how to optimize your scenes and stuff like that, I think it'll be a pretty good training series. So that's coming shortly, and so hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.